I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Allegron's won the Brisbane Cup, but it's all Antino. Blake Shin, take a bow. Barrakiel, Benny Allen hasn't moved.
Broadside him, bobbed, won the Golden Rose.
Pride of Jenny, trying to find the reserves at the 100. She's 3 in front of Mr. Brightside. It's all too late. Pride of Jenny has run them into the night. Switzerland, the big winner by 2.5 Bellatrix Star.
He's down, Jolly Star. She is a star in the making. Jolly Star bolts in.
It's all Isthmus. She's very smart and fast.
Couple of significant updates to provide the Drifters. One, congratulations, round of applause to our good friends Josh and Katie for having their baby girl Zara. Very exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff.
She looks like a little ripper.
She looks like a little ripper. Full head of hair. Very jealous of that. Strong hairline. No, congrats, guys. That's unbelievable.
During a cyclone, no less.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Nickname Alfie for sure, despite being a female. No, awesome news. And one of 4 to come this year for the crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell of a news.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting stuff. Some other horse racing equine news. Breaking today. I Wish I Win. Off to the retirement paddock.
He's not off to stud.
Oh, he's not.
He's actually an interesting discussion though. Like, obviously, I Wish I Win, phenomenal horse. Could run on a bit, but he was running on in the best races that we have. So full credit to him. 13 million in prize money. Just a miracle that he even got to the track in the first place with his legs being literally the way he was born. They were like pointed outwards. His
Left
knees.
fetlock.
Yeah.
Right angle sort of stuff.
Insane. But it makes an interesting argument that if he was a stallion, like if he still had his nuts, if he'd be allowed to breed because he was born with that. Would you call it a defect? I guess so.
Yeah. Or maybe it could be argued that it makes it run even faster.
It could. What's your fondest memory of I Wish I Win?
Fondest caveat when he knocked off Fangirl in the Golden Eagle. That sucked. But it also, I landed a juicy Quinella. Would have been juicier if Fangirl won. But yeah, he just hung on there, So, what's yours?
I'd say seeing him in the flesh up here a couple of
Smith.
times. Kingston Smith, yeah. Not even just the win, but in the flesh. Like, despite his gait, good-looking horse, I Wish I Win.
Incredible nick.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell, I think it was him and Bella,
Yeah.
1-2, and they're like, oh, well, they're the best ones. in the
Yeah,
yard.
exactly.
Like, I believe that might have been in Secret's last race, where she looked dog shit.
She looked dip dog shit.
So, 25 career starts, 777. So, only out of the first 3-4 times. Incredible sort of stuff. 15 starts of those 25 at Group 1 level, plus, he ran second or third in an Everest.
Yep.
Before the Group 1 status, and then he won a Golden Eagle as well before the Group 1 status.
Yep.
So they're kind of outside of that. So basically, the vast majority of his starts are Group 1 level.
Yeah, best of the best. I still think there was more to come from him, but obviously with pulling up a little bit lame, didn't want to take any risks with the horse, so fair enough.
Yeah. Because I think it was his front left, so maybe that's why we didn't see the best of him on his Melbourne leg.
It's a good theory that you have.
Yeah.
It's a good theory that you have.
Well, it's just evolving on your theory on I Wish I Win, where
Yes.
he was far better on his Sydney leg.
Yep.
So,
Which the evidence would suggest that's the case.
16 starts for 5 wins, 6 seconds and 3/3 on his Sydney leg. And the other way, 9 starts for 2 wins.
There you go.
So,
And I think one of which was his debut run here where he got absolutely crunched in. That was like a benchmark nothing.
yeah, 12's into like $3, I reckon. And some of those anti-clockwise starts would be down the straight too,
True, yeah.
where they avoid the bend.
True, yeah.
So, interesting. Interesting. Last 12 months, 7 starts for 1 win, 1 second, and 3/3. He could run on a bit. So we were at the track for his last win then?
Yeah.
We would have been.
Yep.
Interesting. There you go. You just don't know what you got till it's gone.
You really don't. We saw In Secret for her last ever run.
Yeah.
And a dog shit parade. It was a dog shit parade.
It was.
She'd be a great mum, but
Yeah, she
lightly
would.
raced. Loads of talent. Elite
Yep.
bloodlines.
Yep. So, I wish I win knocked off Bella Nips, who went on to just do Bella Nips stuff. In Secret, Freedom Rally, Think About It was going around that day. Antino went on to have one of the best wins of the spring, arguably. Uncommon James hasn't quite gone on with it. Magic Time was in that race.
That's right, yeah.
And I reckon it was the last time we saw Espiona on a racetrack as
Yeah.
well. So a bit of a career killer. The Kingsford Smith from last year.
Some horses thrive up in Queensland, not all
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah, right.
In terms of their racing career. Weird thing for me to say, but anyway. Yeah.
Well, we have 3 minutes until 3 or 4 minutes until counter kicks off. Counter is back at the racetrack. We have a counter countdown. He's going around in the last race 11 in Brisbane today at Eagle Farm over the time-honoured 2,162 metres.
So how's this week in racing in Queensland drifters? So there's 11 races at Eagle Farm today. There's 11 races at Eagle Farm on Saturday, and there's also 11 down the Gold Coast on Saturday.
Wow.
Where are all the jockeys going to come from?
They'll find a way, mate. They always will.
Some bush jocks.
I wonder if there'll be anyone doing the double, like racing at Eagle Farm early and then riding the quaddy legs at the GC.
Potentially. It depends on their rides.
Yeah.
Maybe. Tony Golan brought up he made a good case. He's like, look, we did the Twilight meeting for the Magic Millions rescheduled on the Friday night at the Gold Coast. It was a raging success. Why don't we take that card that was supposed to be on the Saturday, Jewel Day, by the way, put it on the Friday night. So you can have Friday night racing in Queensland, Saturday racing.
That almost makes too much sense.
Too much sense.
I'd say the Saturday turnover probably has something to do with it.
I'd say so. That's a lot of betting.
But if you make the Gold Coast product more prominent, you know, there's half time during rugby league and AFL on a Friday night.
Rugby league.
So it's like, I would turn over. I'd have a look.
Yep.
What's running the GC? The one time I did see it, it looked fantastic.
It did. No, you make a fair point, almost too fair. Speaking of AFL, Link.
That stinks,
That
man.
sucks, mate.
We're padding for 3 minutes, Drifters. deal with it.
Deal with it.
Actually, we might, after we deal with Link, in this time, we could probably get out Caulfield.
Actually, we probably could, yeah.
Yeah, but
Let's do that.
Link doing another knee. Just
Terrible.
came off the track. Oh, my knee's a bit sore. Sorry, brah. You done an ACL. Bit of swelling. And I think he played in 5 or 6 years at the Cats. He played like 12 games or something.
Yeah.
So he's always been injury riddled, but up until last year, got over it. But yeah, feel for him.
I feel for him
So
as
the
well.
boys will have to, they'll have to go back to back to back.
Yep. I'll take 3 in a row.
Yeah, so would I. Lions have been known to do it before. Caulfield, race 6, the Peter Young 1800 metre Group 2 Waif Rage contest. Pride of Jenny. Cannot believe what I'm seeing. Froggy knew it in the saddle. She's never won first up, though.
No, she hasn't. Has she ever been first up over 1,800 metres? I doubt it.
Nah, she's never raced at the distance.
True.
So that would answer your question.
True. I wonder if she's ever resumed at the mile, though.
I'm seeing a lot of 14s here.
Well, yeah.
We're about a minute out, I reckon.
Yep.
Minute 40. So I'm seeing first up profile 14, 14, 14, 14, 12, 12, 14, 11, and whatever she was when she was like a 3-year-old. So no. But those 14s, some of them are the elite kickoffs in like the CF4s and stuff.
Yeah, true. Oh, look, I hope she comes back and I hope she runs well. $2.70 is awfully short based on her last few starts and her first up record. But then I look at the rest of the field and I see Zardozi's $2.10. Zardozi hasn't won for a very long time, but she would be my selection in this race. I thought she was great last start. I backed her in the Blamey over 1,600 metres, and they walked in that race. She needs a more genuine pace, which I think Pride of Jenny would allow. So the victim has to find a winner in this race, and the victim will find Zardozi, but will the victim entice me to actually have a bet at $2.10 with the good people at Ned's? Probably not.
No. So last race that Zardozi won was the Farlap Stakes, which is at Rosehill this week.
So it's been 12 months.
12 months.
And I was dirty at myself that day because she was a big price.
She drifted from 950 out to 13s and won with a leg in the air. She beat Macarena, Kintyre, Le Vampire, Noisy Boyd, Tannhauser. Saltcoats Raff Attack. Not a glowing field.
Not a vintage edition
No.
of the Farlap.
No. 10 seconds to go here, and they're still not in. So that's good. Any other highlights? Have you looked at the Caulfield card?
I've given it a bit of a look. Big Vobus Day down at Caulfield. Look, when you got limitations on the field because of where the horses have been bred, it always makes it a little bit trickier to tee up the form lines. But no, that's the only race thus far that I've given a closer look. What about you? Anything else that catches the eye?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Zero.
at all?
Absolutely nothing. So
Well, your girl Matisse is running.
yeah, I saw that. $4 though. Awfully short.
It is awfully short.
So I kind of need to see her do it again. All right, they're about to jump here.
Middle distance runners. Racing Brisbane. Devotion towards the inside. The
You got this
favourite
for 2
began
minutes,
well, but there were
Drifters.
several others that
Enjoy
made
it.
company early. One Thing Counts, Kayleen's Prophet, Kipton Newey, and right off the track, Aiden trying to get in, but he's 5 wide early. Counter settling in centre field, and then Mannerheim,
Love
followed
that.
by Outburst.
3 back
Plea
the
Deal
fence.
and Papal Miss
Perfect.
is at the tail end. That's the first call. They work up the side with 1,800 left to run. And Dan McGill
Is it fair to say he needs to show a lot here
He needs to show a lot here, Drifters.
before, like, it could be...
This is show cause. He's in the principal's office
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, he is.
With his parents watching. We're talking to the principal.
So he was in a great spot. Now he's, doing counter stuff. He's so far back.
He hasn't raced for a while. It would be nearly a month.
He was 13 to 1 at the jump.
He's been the victim of some wet tracks.
Sure, but he's also been a victim of running really slow.
I mean, as in not being able to actually get to the track because the meetings have been cancelled.
Got you.
It might appear as if he doesn't get to the track the way he runs, but like when the meetings call off, that's outside of his control.
That is. Like, he doesn't control the weather. Now, there is a $26 pop who is about 6 lengths in front of him here. 800 to go. They're slowly closing the gap. Counter's got a pipe in his mouth. If the fence is the place to be at Eagle Farm today, he could potentially run these down. He's running on okay. Get a run there. All right, so he's about third, running on nicely, and he's hit a flat spot big time, 300 go. He's running up and down in one spot, and he's going to finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th of a field of about 10.
He's done that every start this prep. Like,
Loomed
been in a
up.
good spot, loomed up, and then just hasn't let down at all.
Done nothing.
Very bizarre.
Interesting.
Very, very bizarre. Like, he was in a good spot the entire race.
Yeah.
And he loomed up as if he was going to do something.
And I don't mind being that far back when there's a runaway horse, because it's not the true leader.
No, it's not.
And he wasn't that far off the chasing pack.
No.
So Counter's show cause did not go well just then. So it's funny because we have a horse going in the Vobus digital sale in a week or so. Mm-hmm. Could we have 2?
We potentially could have 2, I would suggest. Yeah, that was it was exactly what I've seen every start this prep.
Are you shocked?
And which got him into show calls in the first place. I'm not shocked.
No.
Oh, you're always hopeful,
Yeah.
but I'm not shocked.
Like the fact that he started 13-1 based on his CV this campaign is utter madness. If you had a bet on that horse today, shame on you.
If you looked at his CV and you decided to hire him, god damn. I'd be questioning your decision making ability. But anyway,
Bigger and better things at Rosehill this weekend. All right, so
big day at Rosehill.
huge, big day, like so big. I think they're canning the highways and the midways. Of course they still have the midway and the first, no highways.
The Midway Moral.
Yeah.
What are you going? What is the source going for? 4 weeks in a row? 5 weeks in a row?
I reckon it's about 10 weeks in a row. Yeah. Rosehill, currently rated a soft 6. Rail's going to be in the true, but I think it's 35 degrees on Saturday.
Going to be a stinker.
I'd say it will dry out by then, with a good forecast as well. Rail in the true, hopefully every horse gets their chance. Now, race 3 is the Pago. This is the race that, what's his name?
Shinzo won this, yep.
A couple of years ago. So, your favourite is West of Swindon, barrier 4, Tyler Schiller for the Team Hawks, who have got a good group of 2-year-olds, I might say. So this horse was beaten 2.5 lengths back to Baywatch and beat home Woden as well. And you have to take $3 for him? Are you really that interested in that?
Oh, I understand it. Because if you go back to his debut run, he beat Extractor home. Extractor showing some form. And just missed North England, and North England was in the market last weekend. And ran. I thought he ran really solidly for a 5th. So he's got form around some of the better colts, some of the better 2-year-old colts. So I get the $3 for him, particularly when you're looking at the rest of the field. Skyhawk, I thought, was pretty unlucky last start, finishing second to Rivellino in the Inglis. But I cannot back anything that's out of that stable. I just can't. I cannot. So I have to watch that go around. I actually don't mind West of Swindon, but I can see where you're coming from, and there's other value to be found on the within the race.
Yes.
What are you thinking?
Keen on 2. Extractor was my colt in the Blue Diamond. Did not work out for him that day. Similar-ish runs to Tempted in the Diamond, and then Tempted obviously came out and ran super last weekend. So I could have a bet on him. Barrier 10, bit icky. Comedy's the other one. He's an enormous price, 12-1. I only got going late in the Catnarks Jewelers Skyline Stakes. I think him from barrier 3 considered a little bit closer. I think 12-1's a big price for him, and I'm hoping that he wins, so I have a good position in the slipper.
Yeah, I think the barrier is the key for Comedy this weekend, because there looks to be a complete lack of pace again here, and that's just been his Achilles heel, his last couple of starts. Bro's been launching from the back, but because they've walked up front, it's like, well, yeah, he needs to do the impossible. So
all the boys have been the same, though.
Yes, they have, and that's what I mean. So with the barrier, maybe you can sit closer and still finish off well. I hope he runs really well here, gets into a slipper, but he could be a horse who things start to come to fruition for him in the sires. You know what I mean? At 1,400 metres, bit of pace on, he can use that sprint at the end.
He's always shown that he's strongest at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But he also might be one where the Golden Slipper, they might actually finally run frantically, and he's the one who it sets up perfectly for him.
Exactly. But with these schnitzels, I don't know. They're licorice all sorts.
They are licorice all sorts, which is why he's such a good sire over a very long time. I thought Comedy absolutely Extractor. I thought Kilman was a really smart debutant in the Neville Morgan Silks out of the Chris Wallace table. Blake Shin on, which is an enormous booking, gate 1. We know Blakey Bill knows how to steer him from gate 1. He's $10. He was phenomenal at Warwick Farm on debut. Was clearly so much better than them. Clearly a massive step up, but I think this horse at $10 can run a good race. But I do quite like West of Swindon. I'm thinking he's got the right sort of form, and if he can improve second up for this race, he's $15 at the moment with Neds with in the Golden Slipper market. So if you like him here, drifters, have a little futures bet on him, because if he wins, he'll be in the slipper and he'll be a red hot chance.
Yeah. Well said. Now the Magic Knight is race 4, 1,200 for the 2-year-old fillies at set weights. I thought this was much harder. I thought this was a very even bunch of probably some of these fillies also looking for further. I'm looking at Autumn Blonde, son of the great The Autumn Sun. So looking at her towards like 3-year-old Oaks markets.
She was super in that Within the Law race. Like, was sort of ducking and weaving, and came home really nicely. Johnny Sargent, you know, we know he's better with training things than 3-year-old classics. So the fact that he's got an Autumn Sun filly in this race means she must have oodles of talent. So yeah, I think she's a winning chance. Strata Verena, another street boss filly. She was phenomenal at Canterbury on debut. I think she can run well. But there's one that I've got a bit of an inside word on. Number 13, Enviable. A little Frankel filly with the Noel Greenhull Silks. Apparently, she is an absolute jet. And they were going to debut her, I think maybe tomorrow in like a metro meeting, but you know, like a Warwick Farm or a Canterbury or something like that. But the stable looked at this race and they were like, we reckon we can get her into this race, and she's good enough to go out there and win. They have an enormous opinion of her. Little Frankel filly, Enviable. Big price at 31s with the good people in Ned. So if you want a little spec, drifters, I think she's going to be an absolute superstar as a 3-year-old, but rate her highly enough to throw her in the deep end. So have a little spec. She could just be better.
Could be. Interesting that J-Mac rode her in the first trial. Zach Lloyd rode her in the second, and they're not riding her here.
Yeah.
TC is. So I'd say might be a prep away.
Yep.
But 31s.
31s. Have a
What?
tenner on.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What? You going to hang shit on him for
Yeah, exactly.
tipping out something at $31?
Exactly.
Come on, grow up. Grow up.
Anything you're particularly keen on?
No, I need to do this one a bit more depth, I think. My eye goes to the Within the Law, like the Sweet Embrace form line. So I'm thinking Autumn Blonde, Artistic Venture out of the same silks as well. Potentially like Memo as well. I think there was a lot of hype about this girl early days, but hasn't quite landed the same way for us. So need to do the race a little bit more. The Sky High Stakes is race 5. This has a little bit of stinkiness about it. Just, I just want to steer clear of this completely. Linda Mann is like the $2.60 favourite should be. He's come out of the Apollo, which Fangirl won. Ran super, only beaten half a length in the VE as well. But then you have a horse like Vauban here.
What the hell?
Like over 2,000 metres first up. Wasn't horrible in the Cup, but in his 2 Australian starts, could you back him here? I don't know.
I'm prepared to risk him at $3.90. If he comes out and wins, it's like, okay, good on you. And good on the connections for spending $2 million on a 7-year-old gelding who's showed absolutely nothing here. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And you're pretty much saying we have to win the Cup. You pretty much, like, to get a real ROI, like, we have to win the Cup.
Like which one? The Brisbane Cup or something? Or?
Well, yeah, the Melbourne Cup, I would presume. But he'd probably settle for the Sydney Cup.
Yeah.
You probably would.
Well, you don't probably get all of your money back, but you get a large chunk.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he runs dog shit here, starts 10-1 there,
Yeah.
probably if you have a big nutsack on you,
Yeah.
maybe getting it back. Like he's never won at less distance than 2,200.
Yeah.
Boban.
True. I I think he'll be rock hard fit though coming out of that stable. So
Surely, like his trials has showed a little bit of something, and he's been racing, trialing against like the likes of Broadsiding, New Endeavour, who is a horse of some sort of quality as well. So,
Yeah.
and he hasn't been too far off him. I think Barrier 4 he'll probably go forward because he's shown a bit of that over in Europe as well, where he can control a race out in front. So, but yeah, kind of want to see him. I don't know, $4 maybe. What about Kinesiology?
I think he's a great bet at 13s.
Like, I thought he was a big price.
Yep. He was good last start. A bit of muscle soreness post the Parramatta Cup, and he's going to be better out over further. What I liked about this race though is first and foremost, I'm thinking, okay, Lindeman's going to go forward. We know Vauban's going to go forward. Land Legend typically goes forward. Arapaho likes to be prominent. I think there'll be a bit of pace. So maybe this is going to be a 2,000 metre race for once that's going to have some genuine pace to it. And that's probably going to suit a Vauban, absolutely. But I think it's going to suit Kinesiology as well. So no third divvy, unfortunately. Otherwise, that would have been a good each-way bet. But at 13s, yeah, prepared to have a spec.
Yeah. And that's muscle soreness. Have you ever gone for a run and the next day you're just a little bit second up?
Absolutely.
Second up, you run absolute dog shit after a really good return run?
Yep.
Mate, he was only a length off him. I reckon he might be peaking third up. Yeah, I reckon the connection's open. He's not. But we'll see. The far lap is race 6, 1,500 metre group 2 for the 3-year-olds at set weights. So this is the race that Zardozi won last year. Lady
There's
Shan.
some great winners of this race, actually.
Yeah.
Winks, Very Elegant, Hungry Heart, Zugotcha.
Wow. Well, there you go. Chris Waller's had a mortgage on it.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the chatter was Lady Shenandoah was going to be in this race, despite the fact that she's clearly so much better than him.
The opinion must be high.
The opinion must be very high.
And-
Or maybe the Coolmore's not very high,
Or,
quality-wise.
because I think he has as he does in these handicaps, he has a pretty good hold on the market in terms of the actual field. He has Valencia, Lady Shenandoah, Firestorm, and Scarlet Oak. So 4 of the starters there. Lazura scratched. So 4 of the 14. Maybe the other ones aren't going as well.
Yes. Speaking of Lazura, I think she's a great shout in the far lap stakes. $3.40. Obviously, you've got significant scratchings with Lady Shenandoah being the main one. I thought she was great. Clearly no match for Lady Shenandoah and Lady of Camelot. But you take those 2 out of the race and she wins the surround stakes. And then I'm looking at the rest of this field and I'm thinking to myself, Gate 2, Tommy Berry. I think she'll run super. The other one, which is bringing Melbourne form, is No Strings Attached. 3-year-old colt. Blakey Bill goes on. But, Sydney form versus Melbourne form, typically, you follow the fillies in. But I like that form line. I like the surround stakes form line. So, Lazura for me. I think she's a good bet in the far lap.
Yeah. No Strings Attached piqued my interest as well. Blake has ridden him in his last 3 starts for 3 wins. And he's found trouble at pretty much every start. And he's still gone out and spanked him. So, I think he might have come a bit too soon for him in the spring. And then, come the summertime and the autumn, I think he's ready to kind of go to the next level. But Busted and Young can find a smart one. I think they're underrated.
They don't send a lot up to Sydney either.
No, I think they know when to pull the right rein. A lot of their horses actually hate the wet. A lot
of them do.
Muramasa, Immediacy, Tagaloa didn't like the wet either.
No.
So a lot of their horses are, I think, Japanese bred as well.
Yeah, they do. They do like the Japanese bloodlines.
Yeah.
So you should.
Yeah, bloody oath. I'm very keen to get a fierce impact. That's what I want.
A tough old fierce impact gelding.
Love that. DeClichy Boulevard, she can run on a bit.
That's what I mean. She's a similar price to Lazura, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I know which one I'd rather be with.
Is that
the one who's slowly,
Is that JMac tax?
I found it interesting that he goes on her instead of Lazura, but DeClichy Boulevard also has significant connections. Don't know who Lazura's are, obviously, but Yeah, interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. No strings in Lazura. I agree with you. Now, the Morris McCartan Stakes, Group 3, 1,100 metres handicap. Is Piscinello just going to piss this in or what? $3.60?
I think Piscinello is a good bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Resuming, last prep as a gelding, like classic Godolphin. It was jammed in the market when J-Mac was on down the Flemington Straight. J-Mac can't get to 53 kilos, but I think Piscinello is going to piss it in at $3.60. I think Perspiration is an interesting runner. I think it was scratched the other day, from memory.
I reckon.
Interesting runner, but it's got to carry the same weight as Piscinello. It's a colt, so.
Yeah. Interesting.
But other than that, like, pretty weak Group 3.
Yeah, like that Insurrection, like Rubiton.
What did you say?
The Rubiton Stakes form is kind of gross. Like Ray Magnerio ran like near second last in the Newmarket, I reckon. He was absolutely nowhere. And then Insurrection went out near top weight, mind you, in the Oakley Plate and did nothing. So, I'm kind of wanting to go with the up-and-comer who's going for 4 in a row. The only thing is that I'm a little bit concerned about is first up at 1,100 metres. That's the only little query I have. And especially because his 2 trials prior to his spring prep, he was at 900 metres, then at 1,050. His 2 trials here has been 900 down to basically 800 metres. So will he need this run? Maybe. And it's his first step up to any black type as well.
Yeah. I think Godolphin are really, really good at placing their horses right. And they had a bit of a dry spell at the start of the year and probably the back end of last year as well, but they've been absolutely killing it the last few weeks. You know, both the Cummings horses and the Freeman horses. And I think when a stable's on a heater, like Bjorn's, for example, there's just something that's in the water. So when I'm seeing a horse like this and there's still some meat on the bone at $3.60, he's not $2.60.
Yeah,
I'm happy to have a bet.
Yeah, well said. The Coolmore Classic is the Group 1 contest for the fillies and mares. Handicap. Amelia's Julie is your top weight at 58 kilos. She's given this field at least 2.5, right down to 7 with Our Gold Hope down the bottom. Lady Shenandoah is the $2.60 favourite, 54.5 kilos, barrier 13 with J-Mac. I'd be interested to see if J-Mac's actually riding at that weight.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting post on X today, and it was actually the Mugs saying, hey, when was the last time that J-Mac rode at 54.5 kilos? And they actually asked Grok or whatever it's called, the AI thing.
Yeah.
And it said the last time we did was in the 2019 Doncaster.
Wow.
So is he going to go to 54.5 kilos for this race? I highly doubt it.
Was he riding Mr. Seawolf that day? 2019 Doncaster.
Oh, God, your memory's better than mine if he was.
Because I reckon I bet on him that day. Let's have a look here. If I've pulled this out of my bum...
That's some all-time work from you.
Where is it? McDonald's. Well, the 2019 Doncaster, he rode Lee Romain at 57 kilos.
So Grok was wrong.
So Grok was wrong.
That's funny as. But good on you, Elon.
Yeah, but all right. So say it's like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And you see Nash in the form guide at 55 kilos. He never rides at 55. Like maybe 55 and a half, and they're like, yeah, allow us to go half a kilo over. Like there's only so much weight these guys can.
J-Mac's usually at 56, right? I would suggest that he's going to be 55 and a half. I actually found it fascinating that Chris Waller decided to keep her in this race, particularly where he does have so many other horses in the field. And it's just got me thinking that he's like, she's just going to improve even further and come out and win. I love the horse. Absolutely love the horse, and I think she can win. But I don't want to take the $2.60 for her. A 3-year-old filly from gate 13 with more than 54.5 kilos. Let's be honest, where she had a bit of a neck and neck punch on with Lady of Camelot down the Randwick Straight last start. And she was dual nommed, and it's giving me Jolly Star vibes, but I was very wrong about that. So you got to trust the camp if you're going to dive into the $2.60, which you often can in a race like this. I don't know. Maybe the connections were like, we don't care if she doesn't win. We just want to have a throw at the stumps for another Group 1 against the older horses. Who knows? What are your thoughts? Do you think she just comes out and wins?
Potentially. But there's no meat on the bone, is there?
No, zero.
13 or 14. A jockey possibly carrying 60 kilos.
Possibly.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that last effort gave me the ick a bit, but I expected her to really put Lady of Camelot away. But I also think that was Lady of Camelot's grand final.
Yeah.
So, like, Lady of Camelot at $7.50 here, again, I think that is unders. And I'd rather take Lady Shenandoah of the two. I thought there was a good roughie here, though. I thought Gringzinger Bell has been forgotten about, in a way. Like, sure, she was beaten by 5 lengths to Coolmore, but she had 59 kilos that day. Gets a huge weight swing on that horse here, 4 kilos. We'll kind of just go forward from the wide barrier and just go like, hey, girls, catch me if you can. She's a tough mare, Gringzinger Bell.
She is.
And Sydney leg first time, she could just thrive. $21. I don't know. I'm warming to her. What about AJ?
Oh no, I don't like the race for her at all.
So we had a conversation weeks ago, and it might have been for the 2-year-olds maybe. I can't remember what the lead up was, but your point was, what was your opinion of, say, a really fast run lead up, which Lady Shenandoah would have had? I think the comparison actually was against Amelia's Jewel. It's the perfect scenario, right?
Yeah.
So Lady Shenandoah, Lady Camelot, pretty fast run race versus Amelia's Jewel, where they were 18 lengths slower, I think, on average marks. So where do you kind of land? I'll put the question back to you.
Amelia's Jewel's come out of a race where it's the definition of sit and sprint. And I'm of the opinion that going from a sit and sprint race to going up in distance, where there could be a more genuine tempo, particularly when she's only second up and she's not third or fourth running her prep, she could just get lose her pace a little bit when the going gets really tough in the last sort of 2 furlongs. I hate the 58 kilos. She's got to give this field so much weight, where I don't think she's that much better than the rest of the field. Like, I think Lady Shenandoah is better weighted than Amelia's Jewel, and she's a filly, and she's got to carry 54.5, probably 60 kilos with J-Mac on.
Like,
I hate the $5.50 for Amelia's Jewel. Hate it.
J-Mac, he could easily carry 58 kilos, couldn't he?
Absolutely, he could.
Like, that's unders for him. So it's like, and he rode her last start. He rode both of them last start.
Yeah.
So you know where his bread is buttered.
Yeah, but I think Amelia's Jewel, like, I'd much rather see her run like 4th or 5th here and get a better price than the Queen of the Turf. That's her race. A mile against her own sex. Set weights. Wait for age, yeah. That's her race. So I'm taking her on. I'm taking on Lady Shenandoah. I'm taking on Lady of Camelot, which are pretty much all the horses in single figures.
MF. Melbourne form.
I'm looking at Melbourne form and a little bit of Sydney form, but I think Coolmore can win at $10. She's not my top selection, but she's drawn a nice gate. She loses Blakey Bill, though. I think she was gifted that race. I think that was a bit of a sit and sprint job too, Coolmore. But she wouldn't shock.
Like, Blake couldn't get to 54, though. Surely not.
No, I don't think Blake could, no.
Like, he's on Al Safina at 55.
Yeah. And I don't think he'd be 55 either.
Nah.
Blakey Bill. I think Marble Arch, she could have gone to the All-Star Mile after winning the Blamey Stakes last start. She's got some elite form. Like, yeah, she's a horse who, like, this is a big step up for her. I don't think she's ever raced in a Group 1 before, but she's a mare in form. She's got form around Wings of Song, who I rate. Beat her home. She's got form around Duke de Sessa, who's absolutely flying. Beat home Attrition and Zardozi last start. Zardozi's a $2 pop against Pride of Jenny this weekend. And Attrition, we know, can put together 1 or 2 really good runs in a prep. She's been up for a long time, but I like that the Hay stable could have raced her in the All-Star Mile, which they knew was going to be a small field. And we're like, no, we're going to take her here. She's only got 54.5 kilos on her back, and we think Tommy Berry can actually get to 54.5 kilos, surely. She's $11. I think she's a massive winning chance, Marble Arch. The other one, and obviously, speaking out of my pocket because I own this horse, number 13, Scarlet Oak. 51 kilos, Zach Lloyd. She actually will be 51 kilos. She gets gate 2. He's in such good form. I thought she was super resuming in the Millie Fox Stakes over 1,300 metres. She sort of loomed up and then her fitness sort of faded a little bit. That was her first run in 22 weeks, and she only had the one run in the Bill Ritchie last prep, which was all the way back in September. She was lame at the end of that. And also she was having some bone issues that they've since rectified. They think she's going absolutely super. She's way too big of a price. So I'm going to have a bet on 2 horses, Marble Arch and Scarlet Oak. And that's how I'm seeing the race. Happy to see Lady Shenandoah win. You can take your $2.60.
Yeah. Take it.
That's how I'm seeing the race.
Yeah, no, I like it. And, Gringsing a bell for me. If there was an older mare who's just getting really into her form, and it is like absolute jaws on the floor sort of stuff, Electrica. Down the bottom, number 12. She wouldn't shock me if she went. Because she has like
not at all.
She has an elite turn of foot, albeit in far inferior grade. But like Alsafina could jump out of the ground here.
Firestorm wouldn't absolutely shock me at a big price.
And because she's better suited out to, say, 1,600, even out to 1,800 or 2,000 metres. I don't mind that for a handicap over 1,500. And Barrier 15 does stink for her. But has an elite jockey in Tyler Schiller as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, any of them could win this, in my mind. So... Now, the Ajax Stakes, 1,500 metre Group 2. A lot of 1,500 metre races this week.
Yeah, there is actually. That's Rosehill, though.
Yeah. One of the triplets is back. Pericles, he was scratched last weekend. J-Mac on. Has J-Mac ever ridden? He might have ridden him in his Group 1, right?
Pericles never won a Group 1.
Ran
Remember
second
to Linda Mann.
Rosehill Guineas.
I think he might have been on that day, J-Mac. And he was
was.
putting in serious work to try and get him over the line. But so was Nash on Lindemann.
J-Mac, first time in the Rosehill Guineas. Because he had that weird Melbourne prep as the early 3-year-old, where he went to Moonee Valley. I reckon it was like an 1,800 metre race, and then he went to the Derby.
Yep.
Anyway.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, J-Mac for the 5th time on Pericles. But I thought this was an interesting dartboard sort of equation here.
And that's why I like Pericles. because this is the sort of race he wins. He likes Rosehill.
Top weight.
He likes Rosehill, top weight, J-Mac, gate 8. Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I really genuinely think he can win at $5.50. Pericles. Because it's like when I backed him in the 5 Diamonds. He was $20.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he's much shorter than that now, but he's got a really good race in him, Pericles. It's just rare. He's won 5.3 milli.
Yeah, that's
in 25 starts. Like that's insane.
Well, just looking at his last... All right, let's look at his 12 months in isolation, right? So what's he done? He's had 2 wins. So he ran 7th, beaten 3.5 in the George Ryder, where V8 Lady Laguna militarised. 2nd in a Donny, where he had 54.5 kilos at $41 behind Celestial Legend. Third in the PB Lawrence behind Gentleman Roy. Then That's Right. He went to Mooney Valley and just was the bet of the...
Yeah, he was.
He was such a good bet there, and he got out to $2 nearly, beating our guy Muramasa home. Third in the Underwood. Fourth in the Hill Stakes. Like beaten into ninth. Beaten 6 lengths in the King Charles. Shouldn't have even been there. Then he goes out and wins the 5 Diamonds after that. He has a good second up profile. I could see him winning.
I think he's a bet.
Yeah.
I know he's going to lug the weight, but I think he's a bet.
Another Godolphin son of Street Boss.
Yep.
You know, I was taken by last start was I can never find this horse, but Ducasse had a real will to win. 53 kilos with TC.
Yeah, he can win.
Could he put 2 in a row though?
Ducasse can win, but there's no way that I'm diving in at $4.60. You find Ducasse at a bigger price. Although he did get pumped last start. Started $5. It was a much bigger price than that.
Well, he's only a 4-year-old. I feel like he's been around forever.
Yeah, he has been around for a long time.
So, I don't know. I think he might have finally figured it out.
He's a funny horse.
Like the Epsom winner, Radina. He showed some last first up again.
Oh, still dirty that he won that race, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, sorry, bruh.
Sorry.
That was probably... that was like the 3 weeks of power for me. Went back-to-back into without a fight. That was good stuff. That was good. That was good times. So, yeah, one of those. There's another one, actually, at $11, West of Africa, for Annabelle Neesham. Shown some at the Magic Millions as well earlier this year. Beat home Charm Stone, who we have an opinion of, and Chrysaor, who can put his hoof on the till from time to time. Was beaten 3 lengths back to Ducasse as well. So that horse could potentially turn the tables too.
1.4 milli. Jeez.
Yeah. Anyway. Interesting. Interesting weekend of racing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slipping next week. Rosehill is heating up.
Yeah. Tipping comp.
Yes, the tipping comp. The tipping comp. It'll be starting, not this Saturday, Drifters, next Saturday. So that was supposed to go out today, but your boy has been busy. So keep an eye out for an email from me. There'll be a website as well. Group 1 tipping comp. $1,000 on the line if you're the winner. It was a raging success. Raging success in the spring. So we'll get it started for next Saturday. There's going to be 6 Group 1s. So starting off with a bang. So you probably want to watch the races this weekend, Drifters, to get a bit of a handle of the form. Start watching your replays. But yeah, the tipping comp, it's officially back. Let's see how long it'll actually run for.
Is it the second weekend of the
Yeah, we'll do
championships?
second weekend of the championships.
So that'd be ending the 12th of April. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 weekends.
Easy.
Done. Short, sharp.
Yep. That's how we do it.
Now, let's count these Group 1s together. The Billy Breed, Golden Slipper, George Ryder, Rosehill Guineas, Ram Vet, Galaxy, Australia Cup, Tancred, Vinery, TJ Smith, Aussie Derby, Size Produce, Donny, Queen Elizabeth, Sydney Cup, Queen of the Turf, Australasian Oaks. So what's that? 17.
17. That's plenty.
I reckon I said between 15 and 20.
I think you did.
Dialed in.
So yeah, Drifters, exciting stuff. And you know, I think we'll do the same thing with you picking things at double figures, double points.
Yes.
There was a few occasions where that happened during the spring.
Yep.
And there's some results that happen across the championships, that's for sure.
Yes. Incredibly hard for the Sydney Source, but I reckon they're up to the task this year. And make sure you get your tips in early because we're going to be vetting that from the start. You've been warned
Watch your fucking back.
because you will be named and shamed
Yeah.
if you do that. So anyway, thanks for listening. We'll be back on Sunday to review it all.
Let's go.